I thank you so much for joining me on the Prophetic Vessel Show. This will be your message from God, Ra, Allah, Source, the Divine. I'm grateful for your time, alright? To those whom are keen or interested in becoming members of my Patreon, well, on my Patreon, I offer weekly sign readings for $10 per month based on love as well as spiritual path. I also offer on my Patreon personal readings. For $50 per month, you get a personal reading from me every month based on love, spiritual path, as well as career and finances. The link is listed down in my description box below to those who are keen to tap into my Patreon. Or you can tap into my Patreon by typing what is on the screen via Google. Search it, it'll lead you to my Patreon website. I'm grateful to those who have done so already. I appreciate you all. Let us tap in and find out why were you spiritually led here? What is here for you, beloved? Why did you resonate with the title? And why did your own YouTube algorithm present you with this message? Let us tap in and talk to God, okay? I was channeling a lot as I was just tapping in, just like introducing the message and all. I was just channeling a lot of judgment, all right? Where a lot of people in life miss out on good things, blessings, opportunities, doors opening, and all sorts of things because of fear, all right? Because of lack of confidence and not having it in them and not believing that they don't have it, all right? Not believing that they have it, rather. And the lack of belief within themselves, that's what creates the fear. And then it enables people to miss out on so much on life. You know, but what's the best about this life thing is like being able to prevail regardless of the judgment. Not allowing the judgment to dictate and control your decisions and choices. Doing it because you want to do it, not because that person tells you that you need it like this, you gotta say it like that, you gotta do it like this. Let's tap in, y'all. Because also that person that might be telling you that you gotta do it like this and say it like this instead, that might be what works for them. That might not work for you. You gotta find your own niche, your own way to prosper at whatever it is that is calling you in your spirit, in your heart, and your mind. And whatever crosses your path and acts as a form of discouragement, whether it's a person or anything outside of that, it is to test your character and test your ability to overlook what others say and take your word for it and your emotions above all right? So the next time you're presented with an obstacle, look at it as a test of character, all right? You should be able to see yourself first before you see another person's judgment. All right. We got most of the queens here. The only queen not present would be the Queen of Swords. We have the Queen of Cups. We have the Queen of Pentacles. We have the Queen of Wands. So I'm looking at these energies, right? And all that I'm seeing is like characteristics here. Characteristics of a specific person. All right? Which is you. It's like I'm seeing that you possess like intuitive abilities, a nurturing, loving, kind sort of character that is also really stable, disciplined, mature, very beautiful, very dominant, and focused here, leading. And it's like you being in this energy, it's sort of like God feels like he has to plant you in certain people's lives just to prove a point. You know how we spoke about the lack of belief people have within themselves? It's people like you that prove that it's possible. It's people like you that show others how it's done. And it's people like you that can enable people to snap out of this trance of like, I can't do this, I can't say that, I can't be this, I can't be that. Because when you do it in such a way that you don't care about what they say. You do it because you want to. And whoever is experiencing it and whoever is meant to experience it, then that's that. But I feel like you're somebody that doesn't allow yourself to be controlled by other people. And that's why God places you in certain people's lives, even if it's just for a temporary season or a long time, years, months, weeks, even days, just to show people, like, I feel like it's like using here some form of example or blueprint here to show people, all right, wherever God places you, or whoever's life God places you in, is to kind of prove a point, you know what I'm saying? And it's either that person will receive you in good or they will receive you in bad. And that'll just depend on their own character development. Because certain people, they see somebody kind, loving, nurturing, for example, that first characteristic of the Queen of Cups that showed up. Intuitive, kind, nurturing, loving. They'll be so intimidated by that because of their own traumas, like, maybe I'm not kind, maybe I'm not really like loving like that. I can be a little bit of a hater. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's sort of like that way of being that you possess, it holds up a mirror to the other person about what they need to work on. And it's either they take it and they're inspired or they take it as intimidation. And that has nothing to do with you. You don't control the outcome. You just control who you are. All right? And the second characteristics where, you're disciplined, you're modest, and you mature. To somebody else, you holding up a mirror of like maturity because of their childish ways or they low vibrational way of thinking or their karmic nature, you know what I'm saying? And obviously, you are just being yourself, but the way it mirrors to other people is going to trigger them in different ways. Like we've established, it could be utmost of inspiration that they get from that or otherwise, which we've just established karmic nature and etc., right? To be modest is a gift nowadays because everybody has something that they claim is invaluable. Like they're this, they're that. You can't replace me. I'm everything. Like, okay. But at the end of the day, you're still gonna die, you know what I'm saying? And it won't matter, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is you were telling yourself. What matters would be the truth. And I feel like, beloved, you stand in the energy of being modest. Being modest is like being humble. And knowing you are who you are and not allowing it to control you or change the way you treat other people. Because you see how when people get a taste of success or clout or certain caliber image upgrade or they touch certain perimeters and rooms they never touched before, they start to even talk a little different. They start to act a little different. You know what I'm saying? They can't keep that identity of being that this does not define who I am. It just exists outside of me. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people struggle to be modest, to be humble because they're dictated and controlled rather by flesh. You know what I'm saying? Moving on to the third characteristic of, being focused, being beautiful, attractive, and sort of like reigning supreme, being a leader in your way of being. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be a leader in a certain position of life, just your way of being. You just are able to just lead yourself and have certain level of control and focus, you know, that somebody else that just does whatever and doesn't care about the consequences, and they don't think twice. They might feel triggered when they see you in that energy, or they see your way of being, you know, because you're so focused, you're so, you know, all of these things. It holds up that mirror once again. So we pretty much have, you know, we have all the energies here. We have Leo, we have Sagittarius, we have Aries, we have Virgo, we have Taurus, we have Capricorn, we have Scorpio, we have Pisces, we have Cancer, all right? We have Gemini. All right, so these energies, all these queens coming out like this, it's like all these characteristics here. It's like whether you're feminine, whether you're masculine, you know, whether you're feminine, whether you're masculine, it doesn't matter because it says queen. All right. It's like what I'm seeing here is like the more you nurture these characteristics, the more they'll nurture you back, and the more you realize that you are not being loving, caring, kind, intuitive for no reason. You're not being modest, humble, you know, for no reason. All these characteristics, you're not being, you know, focused for no reason. It's all sort of like a way of nurturing these characteristics whereby it's like having a plant. You know, let's use that analogy, that reference point, that case study, that example of like a plant. Let's take a plant for example, and let's say you have a succulent plant, which is the plant that requires a little bit of water. And let's say you take a succulent plant and you put mass amounts of water in it, and then you expect it to grow, or you expect it to survive and flourish. You know, but it is a certain type of plant. These are certain types of characteristics, and they need you to embody, you know, certain energies, or stay in certain energies. Remain humble so that your modesty can grow and nurture you. You know what I'm saying? Remain loving so that the hate doesn't touch you. You know, all those sort of things. Remain focused so that the enemy cannot distract you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you have you overwater the plant, right? The succulent, it's going to, obviously, you're going to kill it. So that's the thing about life, where if you have a certain door that is open for you, if you are able to do certain things for yourself, if you are a specific somebody in your world and reality, it shouldn't change how you treat other people. It shouldn't change how you treat other people. You are not God. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you got the money, you got the car, you got the house. Or yes, you have this opportunity, you're in this position. Or yes, you can do this for yourself. This can open up for you. You can call upon that person. Yes, you're connected like this. You are not God, though. You're going to die one day. You know what I'm saying? Always have that in mind, to humble you, that you are not God. You don't really know what's going on. Why is the sky so damn blue? Why can't it change color? Why is it the only constant thing? You know what I'm saying? Why do we need air? Why is it the only source of life that literally without it, it's like the whole world needs it? How are we being supplied? You know, like, there's so much to life that it's like, why do we need water? You know what I'm saying? Despite what science and physics can say, that those are man-made things. I'm talking about the things of life that no one has the answers to, but we try to figure it out. It just shows that God is so real. It's scary. So it's important to be humble. It's important to realize that you're not God. Every time, whenever you start to get ahead of yourself, calm down. And understand that in life we're flesh, spirit, mind, heart, all right? And at any given time, there can be a balance of that. You balanced in your mind, you sane, you balanced in your heart. You know what I'm saying? You healing, you healed, you balanced in your spirit, you evolve, you are evolving, high vibrational, there needs to be some form of balance. Or if you don't tap in that way, you sort of like open up a vortex where you allow all the things of the world that you know nothing about. You are this tiny of a spectrum in this big world. All the things that you know nothing about have a way with you. Now you can be controlled by ego. Because the Queen of Pentacles energy here can be a representation of strong ego, where you're fed by the words that validate you. Yeah, I know I'm that. Yeah, of course, you can't tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying? And you start to be so gassed, and you start to forget the little boy, the little girl that you once were, that didn't even have what you have right now, that didn't even know that these opportunities, these doors can open up for them, that didn't even know what can be possible in this life thing. And so remind yourself that death is anywhere, and anyone capable of defeating death is anyone that has the hand of God in their life. So humble yourself enough to bow down and pray and thank God for the position that you're in life. Thank God for all these characteristics that you possess. And thank God that you can be able to manage to nurture all of them so that you are a balanced individual. You're not controlled, you're not dictated, you're not fed by things of life. You are whole within yourself. You're complete. It takes a lot to realize that you don't really control anything, but it takes much more to be okay with that. I'm gonna repeat that again. It takes a lot to realize and accept that you don't and can't control anything of life. You don't control what happens to you tomorrow, let alone the next 5 minutes. But it takes a lot more out of us. It takes a lot more within us to come to terms with that in a form of like surrender, being okay with the fact that you don't have control. Because when you want to have control is when you create imbalances within all your characteristics. And now you are led by certain things that are meant to be good in you, but you've turned them to something so toxic and unhealthy. We got the Four of Wands. We got the Five of Wands. I'm seeing here that like there's something being highlighted here, which is like the importance of prayer. All right? Whenever you pray, whatever you pray about, you sort of align your spirit, you align your heart, and you align your mind with that prayer. It covers the intention of the whole day. That's why it's important to pray every day, because every day is a different energy, different frequency, different wavelength, different experience, different reality. You know what I'm saying? You might be in the same house, same hotel, same shelter, same apartment, but it's a different experience that you're going to have in your reality within that environment. So prayer sort of covers the intention of like, whatever happens does not create an imbalance or disrupt your mind, your heart, and your spirit. I feel like you need to cover yourself with prayer. All right? Cover yourself with prayer. Wherever you lay your head, cover that with prayer. Whatever you are struggling with within yourself, cover it with prayer. And keep nurturing what is good within yourself so that it's so good that it's sort of like it can feed your world and feed you in it. Because being bad don't pay. evil don't pay, wicked don't pay. It's like a temporary win, short-lived little yippee-yay. But like the good, the hero, the justice, it takes a different character, and it takes different morals, and it takes different values, okay? And you're supposed to be what? Humble enough to understand that you don't have it all figured out. You might have this going for yourself. You might have that going for yourself. You might be this way. You might be that way. But you might not have it all figured out. There's no way you have it all figured out. And that's okay. We all need to learn to be okay with the fact that we don't have everything figured out. It's not our job. It's not our place. You know what I'm saying? We're meant to live. You know what I'm saying? We're meant to live. And everything else will fall into place in our world, in our reality, in our life the way it needs to. But we can't put ourselves in the position to feel like God, that we have to know this and know that and do this and do that in the form of having control over our life when we don't even know what we're trying to control. I'm being called to end your message here. This was your message from God, Ra, Allah, Source, the Divine. I'm grateful for your time. Thank you so much for joining me on the Prophetic Vessel Show. So those who are keen or interested in tapping into my Patreon, on my Patreon, I offer weekly sign readings for $10 per month based on love as well as spiritual path. On my Patreon, I also offer personal readings. For $50 per month, you get a personal reading from me every month based on love, spiritual path, as well as career and finances. The link is listed down in my description box below if you're keen to tap into my Patreon, or you can tap in by typing what is on the screen via Google. Search it and it'll lead you to my Patreon website where you can sign up and become a Patreon member. Thank you to those who have done so already. I truly appreciate you all. And I will see you all of you soon. All right? Goodbye.